time for my first update for Wicked. I have read this book before, back when not when it came out, but like probably in the 2000s. This book originally came out in like 2000, I think. I have read it before, but I wanted to read it again because I'm watching Wicked on Saturday, and the movie. The publisher sent me all 4 books in the like Wicked years with the new covers. And so I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to read them. So I'm 110 pages in. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it before Saturday, only because of my work schedule. And I'm also editing like a couple videos. So like I work like 9-hour days, 9 hour, not even, no, 9 or 10 hour days, basically from the morning to the night for the next 3 days. So I don't know how much I'll be able to get done before Saturday, but I'm trying to get a pretty large chunk done. I would love to finish it. The screening is 9 a.m. Saturday. So I would love to finish it before, but this is definitely 455. So there's that. And then I wanted to read like all 4 books in the series, but that's obviously not gonna happen before Saturday, but I might still do that like after. I feel like that might be kind of cool. I definitely want to put this video out in a timely manner. I'm 110 pages in, and the first part is really just like about Elphaba and her childhood in a way, and like really it's really about her parents, because she doesn't really say much like in the first part, because she's like a baby basically, and it's basically like the first year or so of her life. So it's really like her parents and things that are happening with them. Like her dad is like, I feel like he's like a traveling minister or something. There's this thing called like the Time of the Dragon, and people are trying to, you know, she's born with green skin, and people are trying to figure out like why, and she is born like inside the time, like in the dragon. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Now I finally made it to when she's like, when they're at school. She's met Galinda already, and they're roomies, and that's pretty much like where I'm at. Galinda is like really interesting because she's definitely like one of those characters that her like, who I would call like her nanny, basically, like her watcher, her ama. Like she basically says like, you are worldly, but like you haven't seen the world. And I feel like that is like very true. She's, in my opinion, lived like pretty sheltered, well-to-do life. And so she doesn't really understand that people are different from her, and like that you need to be more accepting of that. And she's just not. She's kind of a snob. Very interesting. Like she's very, not aloof, but she's like, oh, I don't really read much. I don't really think much. And like, I just thought my powers would come to me. Like to me, she's like all vibes, but like personality A type vibes. And then we have like Elphaba, and she just there reading. That's it. Like she's just there. Really not that far along. I'm really only 110 pages. And this book, like I said, is long. I feel like there's a long way to go. And it's definitely like the vibe of, I've been listening to Wicked, like the original Broadway cast, because I love Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, and like it amazes me because I don't think either of them were famous then. Like I know Idina Menzel from Rent because I love the Rent movie that they came out with, and I'm pretty sure she was on the Broadway play, I think also, but she's in the movie, and I love her voice and like what she sings in Rent and her character, and that's kind of like where I first saw her. And so it's so interesting to, I was like watching some performances of her and like Kristen Chenoweth in Wicked from years ago, and it's just so interesting to be like, they actually weren't famous then, which is wild to me. I really like the soundtrack. I've seen the play when it came to LA, but I haven't seen it in New York, so I might like break down and go and watch it, because I feel like that would be a great like culmination to like watching the movie, reading the books, and I feel like that'd be a great like culmination to this vlog. So hopefully at the end of this vlog it'll be me watching Wicked. That would be like the play. That would be freaking awesome. But the vibe of the book is definitely darker than what I like remember. So I'm interested to see like how that translates to the screen. And we've already gotten like the Rotten Tomato stuff for Wicked, and it's through the roof, like 98%, 99%, which is amazing. Amazing. So really excited to watch that. Gonna see how far I can get in this book. I want to finish editing another vlog tonight though, so I don't know how much of this I'll read, but I'm gonna keep chugging along. wanted to update because I haven't updated in a while, but I switched over to the audiobook of Wicked because the physical book, reading it with my eyes, was tough. This book is kind of dense and it's dark and there's a lot happening, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, I need to move this along. I need to move this along. So I switched to the audiobook. I am now 78% into the audiobook. I only have 4 hours left, okay? But I am watching Wicked 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I need to get through this. I'm listening on 2 times speed, and people think I'm crazy for doing that, but I'm not. I still comprehend what's happening. From what I know about the musical and listening to the soundtrack of like the original Broadway cast, the book and the musical and the movie are gonna be so different. Like, so different. I think adding the musical element makes it like a little bit lighter. The costumes and stuff. The movie is gonna be so different. Gonna try and see the musical maybe later, either at the end of like maybe December or January. Things that happen with Fiyero, very different. Who ends up with who, very different. Very interesting. And I just found out that this is only part 1 of the movie. It is interesting reading about Elphaba and Glinda at this point nowhere to be found. It's just such a different tone, a different vibe than I expected, I think. So that's where I'm like having a little bit of trouble getting through, but it's a really interesting story, and there are some parts where I'm just like, okay, I don't care about this. Also finding out that like Fiyero in the book is way different than I feel like Fiyero is going to be portrayed in the movie or the musical, and also the way they describe him in a pretty racist way because he's brown skin, and the way they describe that is very fucked up. There's some things in here that I'm like, this book is maybe quite problematic as far as racial things that are happening. And I know there's like munchkins and this, and Elphaba's green, and like there's a lot of different animals with the lowercase a versus the uppercase a. It's way more political than I thought it was gonna be. There's an uprising. There's just like so much happening. I feel like I want to read the other books in the series, and I think I'm gonna do those with audiobook too, but I need to continue listening to this because I gotta be up bright and early. So it's either listen to this or go to. Today is officially the day that I'm finally seeing Wicked. I think I'm only like 87% into the book, but I have this cute like Wicked cardigan, and let me show you the fit. I feel like my friends are going all out. It's a regular shiz student, you know, with my little cardigan, all black. It's more so giving Elphaba. I think that my other friends are giving Glinda. I'm not a girl that wears pink. I'm not a person, I'm not a person that wears a lot of pink. Green is more my style. I've been wearing green like all week because green is like a color that I actually like. So I got this really cute cardigan that fits honestly fantastically. It's a large, and I got a large and an extra large because I wasn't sure what would fit and what wouldn't fit, but this large fits perfectly. So I'm wearing this, and I just have my boots. Also cold, of course it's cold. So I'm about to cover all this up, and our show's at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Dolby, but I'm meeting my friend at 8 because I was like, I'm gonna need some coffee, a pastry, something to get me by. Definitely some coffee, even though I'm doing decaf right now. Definitely gonna need a coffee drink in my life. That's just like how I start my day. It just makes me happy. So we're gonna do that. But I've gotta go because I have 3 minutes. I'm really excited for the movie. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna listen to the audio. My phone, of course I didn't charge my phone last night, and I'm realizing I think I left my charger at work. So I had to find another charger this morning, and it's a slow ass charger. I feel like it's only 30% maybe charged right now, but I need to listen to the audiobook on my journey. I don't know, I think I have a little bit more than an hour and a half maybe. So I need to finish as much as possible before the movie. It'd be ideal if I finished it, the whole thing before the movie, but I doubt it. But honestly, also I heard, again, this is part 1. So I'm already caught up with the movie and the show and all that. But like I said, it's gonna be very different, but I'm super excited because I really love the music, and this is gonna be, oh, I'm so excited. Happy Wicked Day! Forgot to do, wrap up this vlog. I feel like that's pretty normal in Shuri fashion. I realized I never talked about finishing the book, finishing Wicked, or watching Wicked for the first time, which is funny because I'm filming this and I actually watched Wicked for a second time last night, and I watched it in like SD, which Apparently it's like there's a screen and then there's like screens on the side, so it's just like extended, which some of the scenes in that were cool, but I don't know if I want to watch XD for everything. I don't know if that ticket price is worth it. I did finish the book and I think I gave it like 3.5, 4 stars. I feel like towards the end, my brain was a little bit checked out. And so I don't remember a ton of the ending of the book, but I do kind of want to start listening to Son of a Witch and kind of like see where the story goes. Also, like I said, like the book is very different than the actual movie and play. And watching the movie again and like listening to the soundtrack, I really loved the movie. Like I really did love it. It's not my favorite movie of this year, and it's not my favorite musical either by any means. It was a solid film. The actors, like Cynthia Erivo, the first time I watched it, I got chills when she started singing The Wizard and I, because there's something about her voice that I didn't realize her voice could do. And I feel like listening and hearing that, I was like, oh my God, her voice is amazing. I've only heard her sing that song from Harriet, which I didn't love that movie, but that song at the end of the credits, when you work at a movie theater, you hear the songs over and over and over again. And that song at the end of the credits was giving me life every time it played. Her Wizard and I is on another level. Like I love her Defying Gravity, but Wizard and I was talking to my friend about this and she kind of agrees. She's like, Wizard and I, it's so good. Like it's so good. Like there's something so simple about that song, but it's like, oh my God. Beautiful. Okay. Her voice is just amazing. I cried during her singing I'm Not That Girl because we know Cynthia Erivo's black, okay? Although she is black, she's playing a woman that is green, so she has no, you know, race, ethnicity, whatever. But like that's a black woman under there and I know that. And her singing I'm Not That Girl as like a fellow black woman, I was like, this is how I felt for a lot of times in my life. I think I was just like sobbing quietly at first, and then after the song was over, I was like in shambles. Because that song is so, it made me feel so hurt and seen, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's, I feel that completely like, to my core. It's so sad because it's funny because Elphaba like is that girl, but it's sad to be seen as like the society is telling you you're not that girl, but like certain people do see you as that girl, and so you internalize that kind of thing. Even though at the end, like, you know, she defies gravity. It's such a beautiful song and moment, and I couldn't compose myself. And then also her like Defying Gravity is amazing. Obviously I'm like gushing about Cynthia Erivo because like her performance was amazing. And Ariana Grande Butera, I feel like this role was made for her. Like she was made to play this role. And it's crazy because I know she's like been loving Wicked and everything like for her whole life. It's crazy the trajectory. Like this was meant to come into her life and for her to play Glinda, because her comedic timing, I was like, I didn't watch Ariana Grande in like Sam and Cat. I didn't watch her in, I think she's in what, Victorious? Like I didn't really watch her in that. I did listen to some of her music, but her comedic timing in this film was spot on. She was hilarious. Like she was really funny and I really liked her. Both of them were like just amazing to me. And Ari's voice, like honestly there were some parts where I was like, that does not sound like her. I was like, is that Kristen Chenoweth? Because that really sounds like her. Her voice and her register is crazy also. My only gripe with the movie was Jonathan Bailey, and I know that's crazy because I love season 2 of Bridgerton. That man in season 2 of Bridgerton is just like, yes. But there was something about him in this movie where I wasn't convinced like of his character of like him as Fiyero. Maybe because like in the book Fiyero isn't as prominent as he is in the movie, but there's something about him that I was like, you're okay, like you're doing okay, you know. And I actually really liked the original broadcast recording of Dancing Through Life, like the guy's voice in that song. I've been trying to figure out like who sang that for a while. I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was like amazing. I'm sorry that the women obviously led the show. Yeah, I think I gave it 4.5 stars on both times watching it, just because the music is just so beautiful. And like honestly Cynthia Erivo's voice is like amazing to me. Like that's what is like making me wanting to like listen to it again and again and watch it again. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also started watching Wizard of Oz last night, and there were so many like Easter eggs from Wizard of Oz in Wicked, and I thought that was so cool. And there's this one scene scene also that's not really from Wizard of Oz, but this scene where she talks about degreenifying her, and there's like these colorful kind of like almost like stained glass pieces, I guess, and the way that the light is like reflecting off of her skin, it like turns her green skin into her like normal skin tone. That happening when she's saying like degreenify me, I lose it at that scene every time, because that's a choice. That is a cinematic choice that it's just such small details. That's the kind of stuff I love in movies. I didn't vlog a ton of it, but we also watched The Wiz like a couple weeks ago in preparation because we were getting into Wicked and Oz and all that. My friend rented out a movie theater at our job, and like 5 of us just like watched The Wiz, and I had seen it, and me and my friend and like our GM had seen it, but other people in there hadn't seen it. And so it was fun to experience that on the big screen. I've only seen it I think like one other time in its entirety, but like as I was growing up, that movie, like I knew about the movie, I knew about Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, like I know Ease on Down the Road, like I knew it was like small parts of my childhood. But I will say Wizard of Oz was a huge part of my childhood. It's cool to see like to watch The Wiz, and how like amazing that movie is. I think it came out in the 70s, and everyone in that movie is amazing, and I don't feel like it gets the recognition like on a grand scale that it should. And then to watch Wizard of Oz, I was watching it last night, and there's just something like, I don't know if the word's visceral, but I have very vivid memories of watching that movie when I was younger. Watching it so much on the VHS that like part of the VHS was messed up because I would watch it so many times. I just love that movie. So I love like the lore we get with Oz and Elphaba and Glinda and the Wicked Witches and like Dorothy and like everything, like having a version like The Wiz, and it's just so grand, like everything to do and magical, and I kind of love it. I should probably wrap up this vlog. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, where I like watch a movie, read a book, where I do a couple things all surrounding one kind of entity, and so this was the first time I did that, and I had a lot of fun. I hope I can do something like this again. But if you made it this far, thank you. As always, thank you, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.